You're listening to the Be a Better Lawyer podcast with Dina Cataldo, episode 170. So how do high-achieving lawyers break through generations of being taught that we have to grind ourselves into the ground to get results for clients, build a successful business, and create a life we love? While law schools are busy teaching the rule of law, they're slacking on teaching us how to be a better human to create for ourselves the success we thought we'd achieve after law school. This podcast bridges the gap between law school and life. Hello, my friend. How are you doing today? I hope you are doing well. I am here to talk to you about how to be more confident. And I have to tell you that this has not always been my default state, feeling confident. There has been a lot of work that I have done on myself, and I know that it has made a difference in how I show up in my business, how I show up with my friends, how I show up in my life. It has changed everything for me, but it wasn't something that happened overnight. But what I'm going to do here in this episode is I really want to distill what I have learned to create my own self-confidence. Right? Because there's a difference between feeling confident based on things that we've done on the past, right? Like giving ourselves permission to feel confident, having thoughts that we're really good at something, and therefore we're confident about doing something, versus being self-confident even when you haven't achieved the result that you want to have in your life. Because we've got to really build up our self-confidence, our self-worth, if we are going after anything. This is really important because you don't see the result right away. It takes some effort. It takes some time. And if you aren't paying attention to the right things, if your mind isn't moving in the direction that it needs to go, you can stall for a really long time. Self-confidence is necessary to help you move forward in your goals. So what I want to do today is I want to break down like where self-confidence is so important in creating what you want. And I also want to talk to you about where we leak self-confidence, where we're giving away all of our power. And that is going to help you start plugging those leaks so that you can begin to feel more self-confident. Sound good? All right. So before we go any further, I want to invite you to follow me on Instagram if you're not already following me there. I am at dina.cataldo. I love Instagram. I have a lot of fun with it. And if you go to the highlights, I have curated some different little trainings. I've got some IGTV there, some videos with trainings there. So if you are not getting enough of the podcast, you need more of a fix, go to Instagram because I have some really good stuff there. Again, that's at dina.cataldo. Okay, so let's talk about self-confidence. I want you to really think about what it means to be self-confident. It means to feel powerful. In fact, the definition, I looked it up in Merriam-Webster's, and it's something like feeling really powerful as an actor in your own life, something to that effect. And here it is. Confidence in oneself and in one's powers and abilities. I really, really like that definition because it is power. And what is power? Power is energy. Energy is our attention, right? So anytime we are giving something our attention, we are giving it power. And our attention can come in different forms. It can come in the form of money, right? Like we purchase something because we want to give it our attention. We're more likely to do something and follow through on something if we are investing in ourselves, in that result that we want for ourselves. Time, like we're going to put more time into things, that is energy, if we want to create something. And also what's really valuable, our eyes and our ears, right? News organizations know that our time, our eyes, our ears, our money, super valuable to them. That's why news agencies put so much stock in getting our attention. They know our brain. They know brain psychology. They understand that they need to get our attention with these headlines that basically it's all what if it bleeds, it leads. That has to go first because they want our attention. Why do they want our attention? Because it's valuable. They need advertising dollars. Then they can get money to what? Keep on going. It is a cycle. And when we start recognizing how valuable our attention is, how powerful our attention is, then we can start looking at why or where we are giving away our attention. Because when we do that, we're giving away our self-confidence. We're giving it to others. And I want you to think about this. I want you to think about yourself as a home, right? You're a house. You have all the lights on in your house, let's say. And all of the lights on means what? Lots of energy being expended. Lots of money. Maybe your bill's going to be super high. You leave all of the lights on. Maybe a circuit breaks, right? You've got to understand that the energy that we're expending has a result. And that result is a weakening of ourselves if we are not paying attention to the things that are going to bring us that self-confidence. We're not paying attention to the thoughts that are bringing us that self-confidence. We're not paying attention to the feelings that we have that are depleting our self-confidence, that feel horrible, right? Because how does power feel in your body? How does confidence feel in your body? Really solid, really grounded. Right? I feel confidence and power in my chest. I'd say like my sternum, maybe the top of my stomach. It feels really solid. But we don't pay attention to that. And so if we're not paying attention to that, we don't know when we are giving our power away. We're giving our self-confidence away. Recognizing when our attention is being given away is incredibly important. I want to give you an example I had with a client. I had this client who was talking to me about a call that she had that she underbilled. She had a call with a client, she underbilled on it. And while she was on the call with her client, she was telling herself that the call was too long. All of her attention was on how this shouldn't be happening, how this wasn't meeting her expectations, okay? Listen to this because it's going to come in. I'm going to talk to you more about how we leak all our power, how we give all of our power away, and how you can stop doing it. So just focus in on this. When she had the thought that the call was too long, she felt powerless. That's not a coincidence. Okay, she was giving her power away here. And what happened when she felt powerless is she underbilled. She got really angry with herself and she was telling herself, you should be better about controlling your time on this call. And then, of course, she ended up ruminating afterwards and she didn't do the things that she wanted to do in her practice outside of this call because she was just beating herself up, ruminating about this. And what she was not doing is she wasn't thinking about what her client really wanted. Her client really wanted her time. Right? Because it was valuable. Her client wanted answers to questions, and they knew that this was something that they needed, right? So she wasn't paying attention to that. And the result was is she gave away her power. She was giving away her time and ruminating, right? She was giving away her money by underbilling, right? And she was giving away all of her attention. Her eyes and ears were all about this call. Even though it was a short call, it ended up being something that took more time during her day. She was giving away all of her focus, right? Energy, attention, focus, power, all of those are the same thing. I want you to really see this because when I understood this, it really helped me see more clearly, feel more where I was giving away my power. And so there's some really big areas of our lives, and every single one of us has given away our power, maybe giving away our power right now, giving away our self-confidence, when we start entering into these feelings I'm going to talk about. Now, this is a non-comprehensive list. This has got lots going on in it, okay? And you're going to find yourself falling into one of these categories, okay? And it's okay. I want you to know nothing has gone wrong because you've just got a human brain, and your human brain wants to go to these places. It's okay. I still do this. I still watch my brain. I slow it down, and I notice when I go into these areas. It doesn't mean I don't go down a rabbit hole every now and again, but I'm going to give you some tools. I'm going to walk you through some steps to help you when you do notice these feelings come up, and notice that you're giving away your self-confidence. Okay, so here's a list of ways that we do it. Remember, this is non-comprehensive. You just kind of learn it as you go. You'll start to notice this. If you just notice these few things, you'll start to notice it all the time. Number 1, judgment. Okay, that's the first feeling I want you to really remember. Judgment, when we judge ourselves, when we judge others. And the next feeling, anger. Anger. Oh my gosh. This is one that comes up many times. It could be with an email, right? From a co-counsel or a opposing counsel. It could be a phone call. How about frustration? That's another one. Worry. Those are 4 feelings where you are giving away your power, giving away your confidence. And here's why. Every single one of these feelings is there because things aren't the way you wanted them to be. They're not up to your expectations. You wanted things to be different. Things should have been different, is what you're thinking. And so you judge others, you judge yourself. You think maybe they should have done things differently. You think you should be doing things differently. Maybe you feel angry because someone didn't do what they were supposed to do. They weren't behaving the way you think they should have been behaving. Maybe you get angry at yourself because you didn't behave the way you think you should be behaving. Frustration. You're frustrated at yourself, at other people, because things didn't turn out the way you wanted them to turn out. Worry. Thinking about the past, projecting it into your future, and then worrying on it. Or just making things up that haven't come to pass and worrying about them. It all has to do with expectations. It's so interesting how our brain gets fixated on how we think things should be. Another way to say this is being present. That's just another way to say it. I mean, you listen to anything in popular culture, they say be present. What they really mean is watch how you are feeling. Like, are you feeling worried, frustrated, angry? Any of those feelings, they're going to take you out of the present. You are out of the present when you feel those things. The way to bring your attention in is to notice that you're having these feelings. Notice that they're just being caused by a thought, that they're not really a problem, that it's okay. It's really interesting when you just start noticing. Then you can bring your attention back to where you want it to go. You can bring your attention back to the present moment. You can bring your attention back to the goal that you have in mind and that future vision of yourself. I'm going to link to some podcast episodes. If you go to dinacataldo.com/170, I'm going to link you to some podcast episodes to help give you tools in the specific area where you might be struggling. That way, you can start to see, okay, this is a particular area. I notice I'm getting angry in this area, frustrated in this area, judging. How do I move from that? But I also want to offer you this. After you start noticing when you are feeling these feelings, when you are having expectations that are not being met in your life, right? That's every single one of us, okay? None of us are immune to this. I am certainly not immune to this. I have lots of expectations about how people should behave. I think I know best. But the thing is if I stay in those expectations, I am going to be miserable. I'm not going to take things for as they are. I'm not going to see things objectively, and I'm not going to make progress towards my goals. Like, I'm just going to suffer, and I don't want to suffer. I don't want to do that. And I don't think you do either. That's why I'm sharing this with you. So after you notice these, I want you to take the second step and be ultra compassionate towards yourself. I can't tell you how many times, even after coaching myself, even after, coaching, tons of other clients and seeing how they react to noticing these judgments, these frustrations and worries that we have, like just noticing those feelings, we want to beat ourselves up. Because we're like, well, we shouldn't be feeling those feelings. We should be feeling happier. We shouldn't be thinking these things. So we even have expectations of how we should be dealing with our expectations. So I want you to know that it's okay. You're human. Our brain has expectations. It likes to predict things. It likes to know what's going to happen. It's supposed to save us, from tigers and bears and whatever that's out there. And so it's just moved its intention to save us from tigers and bears to expectations about how people should speak to us in emails and how people should write motions and how people should talk to us on the phone. It's very interesting. It's just a phenomenon of our brain. So be ultra compassionate towards yourself and just know it's okay. Once you are compassionate towards yourself, you're probably going to release a lot of the judgment, anger, frustration, and worry, okay? Maybe you still feel some, that's okay. Just remind yourself, okay, look, I'm noticing this. It doesn't feel the way I think it should be feeling, right? And then be compassionate for yourself and say, oh, I'm just having an expectation of how I should be with this other expectation that wasn't met. It's okay. Nothing has gone wrong. You're okay no matter what. You are always okay. And when you start practicing this over and over again, you're naturally going to build your self-confidence. Because what's going to happen is, let's say, for example, you have something on your calendar that you have been telling yourself, look, I want to follow through on this. This is something I need to do for my business. This is needs to get done. Okay, and you put it on your calendar, and then you don't do it. And then you put it on your calendar the next week, and you don't do it that week. And then you put it on your calendar the week after that, and you don't do it that week. And you start beating yourself up, judging yourself because you're not doing it. Maybe you get angry at yourself for not doing it. You're frustrated. And then you're worried because, well, if you don't do that, then your dreams are never going to come true. You have all these expectations about this 1 hour of time that you wanted to devote to your business, maybe. But when you notice this and you're ultra compassionate towards yourself, you can start to take away that judgment and not make it mean anything that you didn't do something on your calendar. Not make it mean something. When someone writes you an email and you judge them because of the tone you interpret it as, right? Like, when you start doing this work, you can start just looking and feeling like, wow, I have the ability to notice my thoughts, notice when I'm getting into these feelings that are sucking away my power. I'm giving away my power. They're not even draining your power. You're actually giving your power away to the judgment, to the co-counsel, to the opposing counsel who's written you an email that you don't approve of their tone, right? To anything that angers you or frustrates you or worries you, right? How many times, if you have your own legal practice, have you been super optimistic at the first of the month, felt really confident about the first of the month and how you're going to get your goals met that month, and then by the last week of the month, you totally give up. You've put all your attention, all of your power onto something like a thought like, it's not going to happen this month. I'm not going to make my goal this month. and you start judging yourself. You tell yourself, well, I should have done more. I should have done more billables. I should have stayed up later. Maybe you get angry at yourself and frustrated, and you worry whether or not you're ever going to reach your goals. Your attention is on the wrong thing. How do I know? Because I've gone through this. This is not new territory for me. But when I move my attention, I feel more powerful. I feel more self-confident. And when you practice this enough, you move quicker and quicker through the judgment. You move quicker and quicker through the anger. Doesn't mean you don't judge. It doesn't mean you don't get angry. Doesn't mean you don't get frustrated or worried sometimes. But what happens is you notice it and you move out of it quicker. When you move out of things quicker like this, using the tools that I mentioned, noticing and being compassionate towards yourself and not making it mean anything about you, then you move back into self-confidence that you can do anything, that you are powerful. It's just a way of being. And that's what I didn't realize, is this noticing is a way of being for me now. It's so crazy to think that I've gone from not noticing my thoughts, having absolutely no clue, feeling totally out of control, not just with my calendar, but with my life. And being able to say that right now, in all honesty, is just being able to say it to you and say, yeah, just noticing is powerful. Noticing and being able to move out of it quicker and not judge myself. That's a huge thing. Not judge myself for any of it, not making it mean anything about me or anything about my abilities. When I enter this area of judgment or anger or frustration or worry, any of that comes up, it's like, no, I'm just having thoughts. That's what my brain does. It has thoughts. And then it's up to me to use the more evolved part of my brain to focus my attention in the direction I want it to go and do it over and over and over and over and over again, forever. I love it. So I want to offer to you that if you don't feel confident, it's just because your attention is being placed, you are placing your attention on the least powerful feelings, the least powerful thoughts. So I want to just leave that out there for you. Start looking at those areas of your life where you're judging yourself, where you're feeling angry, frustrated, worried. There's other areas that feel off maybe, but these 4 I want you to focus on. Just notice them. And when you start doing that and you start placing some compassion on those feelings and understanding that they're just coming from some thoughts, know that it's okay. And if you want help focusing your brain in the direction you want it to go, that's what coaching is all about. Come and join me for a strategy session. Go to dinacataldo.com, go to the work with me button, set up a time with me. I mean, seriously, if you're not doing this kind of work on yourself, what's holding you back? What kind of judgment might be there, right? About your abilities, about your follow through. Because I know that I had those thoughts, that I wasn't going to be able to follow through, I wasn't going to be able to do it. But what I really needed was support. I needed someone in a supportive environment to help move me forward, to help move my attention. And once I started learning those skills, I was able to apply them over and over and over again and start hitting my goals. All right, my friend. I hope that gave you something to chew on. This was one that was kind of deep for me to think about because I didn't want to take this into a really esoteric kind of conversation about self-confidence. There's just so much to talk about. I wanted to make this really tangible for you. And so I'm hopeful that I did that. Be sure to sign up for a strategy session with me and we can talk more about this if this is an area that you are struggling with. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.